All right, everybody, let's get into it here. October 9th, incredible. Just moving along. How's everybody doing today? Get right to the business. Get the software. Okay, a bunch of new people asking about the new diamond indicator. The easiest way to answer those questions, simply send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. Get a 2-week trial. And then if you have any questions, get to me over on the Discord. All right, what's up? Great to see it. Let's get right into quickly NASDAQ for the moment because, we're at big numbers, guys. And our main underlying target, 26.5, the big weekly expansion, that's been our, primary kind of baseline strategy. We've been, I don't know, what do you guys think? How long have we been saying 1618? That this recovery, the type 2 failure, everything that we've kind of talked about within the pattern framework that unfolded at the beginning of the year. Okay, and then not only this being a ideal reaction, but not only that, but failing, going right through the retest, really strong, and now targeting that 1618 kind of minimum expansion, 26.5. Doesn't seem like much now, but all the way back here, theorizing that, hey, this fails the pattern. We have no confirmation. This can go and do a 1618. And here we are. I mean, we're right there at the big numbers. So, what's going on, everybody? Great to see everyone. Come on in. Give me a sound check and let me know any issues. That's all good. Sure. What do you guys want to look at today? Stocks, crypto, options, futures, gold hitting 4,000. What's our target been, chat? What's been the target? Target's been 4,100. We're getting to all the big numbers that we have been talking about. I don't know, a year or more. I mean, the gold thing we know is 3350 and then 4100, and we're there. Great. Thanks everybody. I appreciate you checking in with me. And yeah, just on the new Starlink connection is working. Got to give it a shout out. Call it for what it is. So long Comcast. Anyway, I think we have to really talk about the big numbers. We got to talk about the kind of the outlook, just a broader recap of what we have been targeting most of the year. And especially for the folks that are the regulars, you guys know the first quarter we were looking for that retracement. We got that retracement. It was bigger than we thought, but we clicked to the weekly patterns, and then once that reaction was back in, it was either type 2 with some confirmation or breakout continuation. And uh, I'm still of the opinion that the longer term, no matter what happens up at the 1618, I still say the longer term underlying uptrend is going to continue as it has for, since 2010. So the 1618, it's been our starting point objective for the breakout. Now let's really kind of consider, when are we going to do this, and relative to how this sets up for the end of the year. Because check it out. Incredibly, we're less than 12 weeks away from the first start of 2026. And you know how this stuff can go, especially low volume December days in a market that's crazy hot. I really think we've shown it so far that we can continue to drift higher and reach these targets, especially as we get into that holiday season. And I think it just follows a very strong serial continuation up to this 26.5, 27-ish. 25K was a big psychological number, I guess, for a lot of people, but nothing really there. Nothing to stop that. And that's where we are. This is the market we talked about 2 years ago and last year. I'm like, hey, once we get out here and get higher levels, these possibilities now exist, much like gold. So be aware of that. I am really impressed. You have to be really impressed. Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq continues, and I always want to kind of really drive home a few main ideas every show, every stream, with concrete levels. And you guys know that I've been saying that the semiconductors are going to drive the Nasdaq, and that's how semis break out and basically smash their all-time monthly pattern. That monthly hop level we've been targeting since the bottom here for that full return. Now we're well above it, and the kind of the new way to look at this is agree absolutely that's overbought. We're overextended. We're over everything, but we're in a crazy kind of a point where we are likely to do this pop off 161, excuse me, 2618 extreme level, something crazy. If things get really crazy, and we've seen individual stocks pop off and do insane moves, be aware that this is kind of the blow off format. Some people, rightly so, have been bringing up the Jesse Livermore speculation chart, and this is a lot like that. Let me see if I can find that for you guys. This there actually the a number of the big tech companies and Nasdaq and even the SOX uh, look like this. Hold on, let me see if I can find that chart, because this is exactly where we're at. Yeah, I got it. Cool. Here it is. If you've never seen this, hold on, let me bring this over here. Come on, where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, great. Over on X. Um, to me, this is what happened in the 90s, the mid 90s, 95 to 97, and then we had the blow off move. And I wanted to bring this up because I'm seeing a lot of this. If they're quantum stocks, if they're AI chip stocks, a lot of these are doing this kind of big trend and build, and they seem like they've moved a ton, but then they do the blow off move. Like this could be ASTS, this could be Rigetti. That there's so many of them. And then look at the chart, and there's the socks. There's the socks. I guess he had like a seven wave creature within that like broadening megaphone. Maybe off the low one, two, three, four, five, six, maybe seven, and then blow off. But this whole long term thing, guys, I want to be clear. This has been an amazing run. You're reaching some critical levels, and I would say in the next anywhere from the next 30 days to 90 days, we're going to hit all of these big numbers. Socks for me to do a 1618, and that would be a nice little blow off move for what's happening, but still higher is like 7,500. It's like another 10 plus percent before we really think this thing is overdone, overcooked. Look at Nvidia. Truly amazing. Can't go any higher, right? All time new highs 195. 195, guys. 195. And I think the larger takeaway, all of the 1618 assumptions, or most of them, are working out. Whether they're slower than others, obviously Nvidia being a leader. Okay, track this, but I don't think that it's not an end target. It's a first target, but where is it? It's right there. Yeah, it's 195, like there. So there you go. 1618. We might pause up here, but I think if we build out the zone that, again, it's more of just approximating how far can it hit the 1618 when we have a monster breakout return move like this. Okay, that's a really easy assumption. Do you know all the way down here? Like, do we know that down here in May, April, May, that we're going to 1618? No, but certainly by June, breaking out in July. And when we cracked the 886 here, we said that. That's usually a really good determinant how it acts at the 886. So 195, bang, first target, objective, reach. That's what we've been talking about. Still think, later in the year, 215 overspill, all legit. And that's just a first stop. But that's why we're doing what we're doing. People are getting, I think, a little amazed at what's happening. But it's a realization of the bigger 1618 minimum breakout. Yeah. Couple more. Yeah, we can go to Bitcoin in a second. We can segue through the stocks, and then let's have a talk about, what did you? I posted something on X, and some of you guys responded from a time perspective. Some people are saying, time's up. Time's up on crypto. Where we're at this point in the cycle where in October it's supposed to end. Uh, Curious to hear what you guys have to think about that. I am, I'll get to Bitcoin in a second, but I'm still of the opinion that we need to do these extreme moves. Definition of a capitulation blow off move is a 2618 to 3618. Anyway, Nvidia on the daily, I thought this was interesting too. We have this daily butterfly, really nice pattern, okay? Even with a diamond, but what happens? You go counter HSI. And that's something that we're going to keep seeing, and I think it's going to be it's an overlooked, really overlooked, but powerful continuation signal within the software. And I'm going to keep bringing it up because we had a bunch of these daily signals back in September, late August, across the board, and they were monsters. And here's another one at a high level. Nvidia pushing up. Oh, that's on the 4 hour. Sorry, but regardless, 4 hour. If we're lucky at this point, so a lot to glean from all of this, guys. There's still opportunities. I think there's things that you can go back. You can go and speculate a little bit harder on lower cap market plays. Just one or two. I still think Intel is something where is it going to come back and do a major recovery move? And I'm long it, and I think it's an amazing weekly, monthly patterns with targets that are above 40. I think Intel goes to 42, 45. But is this going to do something more? Because we've seen it in other bigger recovery patterns playing out. So weekly, still higher. Look for that to go to 40. I'm watching, especially this month, next month. We've got a lot of things that are overbought on weekly, even monthly HSI readings, but they're expanding. So watch that. And then what's the other one? Um, oh, really quick. So then we have this group of mega techs that have they've blown up. But is it a top? And Oracle's probably in the top three of that list, and I want to be really clear. Okay, these are going much higher. And with Oracle, where we are today is after that massive, it was like a 100-point pop or plus 120 point there. We have now completed the retracement pause that I've talked about, and today's the yellow dot day. And again, this is another high level continuation play where from this point forward, especially by the close of today, starting in tomorrow, we're looking for that acceleration. And I would say uh, these kind of continuation plays are going to probably give you the highest probability mover opportunities to continue retest obvious inflection at like an 886. So Oracle from like 295 to about 335, 340. And then if it's a real beast, real monster, you expect something like a major 1618 continuation, which again, I think is possible with these kind of moves. So you missed the blow off 100 pointer, great. It came all the way back down, came back 70, and now is in a prime position. Now, a couple more. Uh, Let's go to well, Path is one. Yeah, there's so the quantum stuff really good. And there's this guy. You know what? I'll tweet him out. There's a guy. There's a couple. Real good tech geeks, nerds that are, they're geniuses. And they know the markets, they know the technology is developing. And the one guy that I've been following, man, if I wish I found him 6 months ago. But his stocks have been fire, and then I've been looking on technology calls. These guys are up and coming. These guys are a partner with this guy. Blah blah blah. Path was one of them. I think I mentioned this last time. And then I pull it up and I say, oh wow, perfect type 2, diamond confirmation, bang, checks back. That was it, 1065. And now, 1790. Some amazing moves happening, but uh, no need to chase it. But again, let's find other ones like this still early in the development. If this, man, I think a lot of these that have been basing for a while, they're really starting to turn around. I have to bring up before I go any further, and I'll get to some of those miners, crypto miners guys they're doing the wake up call. Uh, but Path and SoundCloud, SoundHound AI is something we talked about way back at 9, 10. Took a while, spent months 9 to 10, sideways, 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 and then made this great move after the type 1 reaction. And either way, I mean, ideally down at 9, great, but a lot of these return plays are great. And now we're at 1922. For now, maybe a pause here, but Soundhound is a lot like Rigetti or Qubits, that they had the same kind of a thing. They were building. We were on Rigetti. There was the Rigetti bat, and I can't believe it. I think I traded that up to about 17, uh, 11 off of this HSI. And if you go back to July, we were talking about this almost every show, but there was another opportunity, 15, and now 40. Now 40. Nothing here that I can offer you. Obviously, you're just going to have to keep it on the radar. We'll get another pullback. Even notice, listen, counter HSI. So they're still getting these pauses, and then they blast and continue. I want to find more like this because they're out there. Things are. I think there's a lot of really interesting plays. The Big Bear, was it BBAI? Uh, BBAI. What was the other one? And Sound, and there was one other one. Yeah, CXAI. I showed you guys that one last time. That's definitely more speculative. I'll get to that in a second. But it was. Sorry, hold on. I'll come back to that. CXAI was. This is. I said this more speculative play, but we have patterns, confirmation, everything. Just give it some time. They popped it to $1 and they knocked it down. Still early, but hey, that's making progress. Really nice type 2 there. And I saw that almost at $1 this morning. But that needs more time. But I think a lot of these that we were not thinking had life to them are absolutely smashing it. Qubits, which is D Wave, was another one where, oh, 1 second, just had these amazing continuation dots. So where else? So another area that has been exploding finally are the miners. And let's start with CleanSpark. That was up at 20 now. Okay. We've been talking about that since 10. But the larger picture, the weekly patterns here, that took 2 years to resolve themselves. I mean, they did a 1-2, now have, I think, a real possibility to go at least full recovery, which is 886, or truly go price discovery. And I'll get through a bunch of these because, look, if these are going to play out, and I'm a firm believer in whatever the price history is, the tradable price history, you go on that. At least with the pattern for CleanSpark, what's an M framework look like? Well, that was down at 5. Now what do we have on the here? It's kind of like a Gartley. So looking at for some kind of recovery from here, the way that we've kind of come off of finally confirming longer term lows, that's a beautiful base, major secondary high. There's a lot of things here. So CleanSpark, been on this since the breakout of the downtrend. Now let's look for continuation. If you're not in it yet, okay, pull up. Just look for HSI oversold arrows, 4 hour or even hourly. Right now, overbought. Can we get back? Can you come in like $2, something like that? Last oversold trigger on an hourly was about a week ago at 1445. So this is all, early stages, guys. And I mean, if we're gonna, if it's going to do the cycle that we're looking for it to do, and in a short period of time, well, these should be continuing from here. We're not doing any more retest. So you're looking for continuation longs. The other ones that I guess IREN, which is it the clean energy one, guys? Because I think that was just looking at these saying, all right, why have these skyrocketed? I think these are the clean energy ones. Nothing I can offer you here other than the fact that is, let's start looking at all the other ones that have patterns that haven't done this yet. I could never say, all right, hit that at 62, even though it was 6 5 months ago. Here's one, and I think this is kind of a freebie, I suppose, but Bit Digital. I think we have given this enough time, and I'll explain why. I really want to hammer in on this. I threw this out to my people on my thread, to my members. So, this will be a freebie for you guys. XA levels 401. Where's the confirmation on all this? Down here, really like 250. We're 215. We're 385. This has yet to realize what it is. Just, speaking to all of us. What is it? It's a crazy, I would say, irregular type 2. There was the first one, type 1 reaction. Okay, great. You missed that? No problem. The better opportunity is down here on the retest at some confirmation variable. The problem is it just took 3 years of development before it put itself in a position to really try to launch. Or at least with a bunch of these others starting to go, look for stuff like this to do it. And this is not a type 1, it's a type 2, by the way. And I'm not going to get crazy other than just identify it and say that is our assumption. But a lot would have to happen. But you see stuff popping off. I mean, look at HUT. This stuff is really made a hell of a move since July, and a bunch of these. HUT here, it's a bat off the low, but okay. Again, nothing to chase here, but find others that have yet to move. I think Cypher. Yeah, 3 guys. That was $3-4 this summer. A couple more. How about Bitfarm? Yeah, Bitfarm's 4. We started looking at that at like, I think $1.20, maybe back at $2. But that could still go higher, and I would even look at Bitfarm as someone that's now playing catch up. Think of it this way: if we're in recovery mode, which is what we are, X A B C D, B is at like a 40. That's a bat structure. Go to the 886. But looking for that full close above really where it is. Close it right now on the week in your business. Um, do you want to look at the Nifty 50, man? Can you respect the chat, please? Like, I got it. I hear that you want to look at the Nifty 50, but we don't have to put it in 100 times, all right? Thank you. Let's finish up on some of these stocks. Ajalio, Mara. Mara, Riot. Yeah, look at Mara. Mara's another one where, guys, if this is going to be the kind of the basing formation, which it is, and we're at $19, long-term breakouts above 35, I think so. The bigger deal with Mara, even more so than I think what Riot was showing us, is a confirmation of this higher low, the weekly, and then this and that. You go back to July and you go back to even September. So we're looking for that and looking for that breakout. I would say, yeah, at this point, 4 hour time frame. What do we got? All right, some resistance at 20, but I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see the bearish pattern because if we get the reaction, and I would also just be looking for the next oversold trigger, but some kind of reaction, and you're looking for this point where this is going to not only explode through these highs, but trigger it much higher. Mara's probably there. 23 bucks, full recovery unfolds. Riot, same kind of a deal back here in July. You were breaking out of the downtrend. You went to the 886, pulled back, and then gone. And weekly Riot, pretty sick pattern now, right? This is what I'm talking about. This is not um, something to think about for harmonic patterns. Seriously, the reality of buying the completion of the pattern and sitting through there for 3 years to get to that point, probably not going to happen. It's just going to be too difficult. And how many times they say, this is not yielding anything. Again, take this away from it. Right there was the first confirmation of the pattern. Couldn't really do much and then triggered some overbought readings. You could have sat through all of this. But this secondary reading, especially that diamond that came in back in April, May, these are big readings. And we see this in a lot of setups that have yet to fully materialize. Riot also is a type 1. You're 2140. You're shooting for like 33 bucks here, guys. And these patterns could end up being something even bigger than we realize. We're seeing a lot of these lower cap plays now that they're being realized. They could make this price range up, or at least half of this range up of the prior cycle. Couple more. Hive is, I think, another one, and I'll take them all. Give me whatever you got, and give me them down here with a diamond confirmation. And Hive's another one. It's completing the Type 2 bat. I like the fact that it's in a recovery mode. All-time high was 28. You were recently as low as $1.30. Hello. That was back in April. But still, wait for the retracement on these. This is a lot of these are doing like that first thrust move, but really nothing to offer there. But we're, again, look, It's like this. We have these bearish patterns. A lot of them, as they come off the low, all right, they'll form some 886. The reaction and the counter HSI is something to look for where it sends it and blasts and you fail the pattern. And that's how you get these crazy market massive breakouts. But I think that's, need to be on the objective, on the board radar now. And again, I think probably the one that I'm really targeting at the moment is Bit Digital as an Ethereum play. But this has some immediate patterns. We're a little overbought now. The weekly number is 4. It's $4. We're under $4. And that's fine. I probably should say it's more like $3. But if you go back to Bit Digital, even on this daily chart, this whole area is confirmed support, and we're going to break this range. We're just kind of stuck in that area. It's going to take maybe a little more time for that to catch up, Ethereum to break out. But I think with the fact you're printing two bullish patterns, obvious low side target of 250, upside targets like 450. But I don't want to get lost in the fact that what we're really trying to capture is this bigger, where is it? Bigger, there it is, recovery. We've seen the patterns kind of nail the complete retracement of the first mania phase. Now you do this amazing basing formation, and I think what will happen, as is the case with most of these, that you finish that base with some ideal higher lows and then break out with some higher highs. Then the chart's just going to look phenomenal. What was the other one? It was iron. Same deal. And again, let's get there before, and it's too late now. There are a number of stocks that have massive patterns like this that we're currently considering, and I'm saying let's take them more seriously now than even before. But stuff like that, and it's just direct continuation. Wolf, is that Terra Wolf? I'm sure that's up. Man, look at that. This is a big recovery, isn't it? That's a really nice chart. I mean, weekly chart. Look at that, guys. Big IPO mania does the 886 reset. Now look at what's at stake. Again, call that the super base. David Ryan, Investors Business Daily, 1980s. That's all he did. I mean, and that also looks like the kind of the Wyckoff thing I was showing earlier. The speculation module of, is that 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bang. I don't know. I do want to say this. Don't underestimate this range when we're looking at all of these and we get into this kind of blow off environment. If that's where we're going, and I still feel like we need to tag the extreme targets. If you want to really call this whole craziness oversold, overdone, well, let's hit some numbers that mark it. And there's a beautiful bat pattern on that one anyway. Irregular, but that's a bat. And that would be a T2, but as well, where at 22. I mean, you got to look for, pray for, can we get some hourly something? But we're already accelerating through this. Yeah, a couple more. Um, yeah, individual ones. What's that? We talked about BTBT. Yeah, we gotta wait. Well, BTBT, I think maybe buy 100 shares, just so it's on your radar, even if it goes down a whole point. And then the thought would really be If it's gonna move and do a blow off move, then you should have at least, I think, 1,000. Catch the wave kind of a thing. We'll see. I mean, they're all waking up. They're all waking up. We did hut. Yeah, I can mute that probably. Let me mute that for. Oh, he's gone. Sorry about that. One or two more. Archer Aviation, ACH. I think this is another chart where you have to wait for pullbacks. Hourly, 4 hour was back at 13 recently, now 11.90. That's all right. Tough time at 13, huh? But I'm not worried about 13 at all. It's more like let's just run the channel since the low. I mean, 3 to now 11. Can it be this? I think in general, you're at 11. Low end is like 9 or 10. And wait on it. Archer is one of these. It's a concept play. I understand it. And you're absolutely looking for Archer to do like a Rigetti situation, go from 5 to 40. But it's going to take its time. And there you go. There's the all time chart. Yeah, there you go. Pretty clear here. 13 needs more time. But you're looking for this Archer and all of those to bust out of their prior all-time range and then go into a 1618. You're looking for Archer, and I say this because you can apply basic framework, guys. Where are we in this recovery? Are we above a 382? Yeah, we blasted through a 382. We actually got 707 land. I'm really looking ultimately like 886, which would be like 1617. And then see if it can do something where, hey, is this really going to be something? Can the all time 1618 be realized? It's going to take time. But that's just the point to point work through. And again, we've seen stocks like this do amazing things. And I bring up ASTS. All right. I mean, ASTS, AST Space Mobile. We were looking at this earlier in the year and saying, hey, look, oversold weekly dots at like 22. And there was also a daily bearish pattern, I think, that, yeah, the shark, well, that was September, but there was something else. Regardless, concept stock came out, did the big 886 crash recovery, 4 years sideways, sure. But then how do you know? Well, full 886 there, that's your recovery range. And then gauge it. Can it do something more? Can it go to a 1618? It's like that. Is that right there? Almost. Craziness, takes time. But that's how I'm looking at a lot of these recovery stocks. I'm looking at the fact that we're in that kind of environment. We're in that kind of market where this stuff can happen. It wasn't really blowing off last year. Now it is. I don't know. How about a couple more? Lino, what's up, man? How you doing today? He wants to look at the Russell. And then I think somebody wants to look at the Nifty 50. Let's save that for like the last request today. Why do we have to make it so hard? It's not that hard. It doesn't have to be that tough. I mean, we're here to chill, learn, profit, pinpoint levels. Russell, weekly type 2 bat. Interesting stuff. 242.91 that's a top end hop, and you have confirmation. But the thing is, this already did the 1-2. So look at it this way. This pattern did the type 1 really quick last year, right back up. Now it went to type 2, to target 2, excuse me. So looking at this retest, it's more about just kind of a temporary pause, if you will. And not surprised to see that. You're actually literally the first week after checking back. So 243, you were even new highs. You were 248. Little pause. Another 2 or 3 weeks. If this just continues to click higher, like everything else, it will put in a 1618. It's kind of our minimum expansion. 287 ish. And that's how the rest of the market starts to expand. Are we really going to get the rest of it to blow through? Get NASDAQ fully to 26.5, S&P 500. I didn't even show you guys that. I've been saying S&P 500 7,000 for a while. So we're real close. We were 6,800. What? What was that high? 68.12 yesterday. 2 days ago. What about right now? Nada. Nothing yet. But the 1618 larger expansion move, there's really two of them, two measures that we can do. But this 1618, that gets us up like 70, 50 ish. Where is it? It's like there. Hold on. Exact levels. This. Yeah, 7,100. It's above 7,000 for sure. The other kind of measured level that I think is of interest, kind of a side little strategy or a little something to consider. I always want to be measuring off of patterns. And the 2022 deep crab pattern is probably a stronger range to be projecting from. And so our 1618 was the pre 25 for Q1 drop. That was something we talked about, that 1618 up there. And then if that's a 1618 zone, which it was, perfect 618. You see that? I mean, real harmonic levels, guys. Just amazing. So do another 1618. Just kind of repeat the symmetry. A larger, like 224 ish. I mean, it's got 7,100 written all over it. You want big targets, big kind of end of the year. How high can we go? This is getting crazy. When's it going to stop? It's still higher. I'd say go with the 1618s. What's up? All right, let's go to yeah, Floyd, you're right. Before I go, because that's right. Look, the solar trade is on. Solar trade's on, guys. You can fat finger 10, 47 and higher. And if it came back to 35, please buy more. This is so I'm doing some like fundamental research. I'm looking at what's going on with these data centers they're building. Of course, the NVIDIA stuff, the Blackwell chips. I think I need to know more about it. I'm happy to share whatever I find. Found some really interesting stuff, really interesting industry people. But there's clearly like an energy crisis coming where they are building out these centers. And I mean now. And we're talking months. We're not talking years. We're talking months where the amount of energy they will require once they flip that switch is not even close to being able to be met yet. And so that's got me thinking. They've got things like, well, I wanted to show you this a long time ago, Bloom Energy, the Bloom box. Okay, this is one of these, it's kind of a green energy, self generating little reactor on-site generator. And I always knew about this company, and this one finally exploded after 5, 6 years sideways. And this thing could go a lot higher, but it's just an example of what's to come. The other thing that that plays into that, silver. I've mentioned that before. Silver, amazing move. Let's hope it pulls back $10. I don't, almost at that 886 all time. But silver's another one where I think, okay, big first thrust breakout for the cycle. The next leg or two, I want to be on that much more than I've been. Then the other thing is, gold at 4,000, guys, uh, huge. Now under 4,000, great. Almost hit our 4,100 target exactly. I think I first was saying 40.50. Then I was saying maybe 41.50. I think we're good. Like I'm good here. I'm good on gold at 4,000. And again, I think we probably can go into a sideways grind of 4,100 to 3,800. But I don't, this to me it's not like an overbought extreme here. We're not in a spot where, hey, that's it, that's the end. Gold is capitulated out. No, I think it's the follow through move of a massive continuation. Couple more. Yeah, sure. Let's look at what was that? Nasty on gold reversal candle. Well, yeah, look at the GLD. You want to look at that. And guys, it has been a mania since that 33.50 breakout, for sure. Come on, GLD. GLD is a good one because just tracking it like a stock, uh, incredible. I haven't seen gold move like that. Maybe not ever. That kind of a move. A year ago, you're 180. That's remarkable. The monthly chart GLD. That's probably if you're looking for big candle wicks. If you're really concerned, or you want to monitor when a major correction might unfold, it's going to be in the monthly candles, and you're going to get a few of them. That's no doubt massive extended run, but every prior intermediate top, you had a few red candles before any major correction. And now with the diamond, haha, let's go. Yeah, I want to look at the GLD right now in terms of monthly. Okay, check it out. Monthly HSI amp combo. That's the bottom indicator. We're overbought, and we will get a diamond eventually. Let me show you this. So the bottom indicator. Oh, that's not the bottom indicator. Hold on. The new indicator, guys, is available in the HSI arrows right there, and the combo indicator there. Okay, add that. Give me a second. Hold on. Why isn't that loading? Let me go to different layout. 1 second. Let me go back to GLD. Also forgot that I need to show you guys the new pattern scanner that can now do up to 30 symbols, as well as the pattern profiler. Here's a weekly GLD again. There you go. Monthly. There you go. Monthly. The bottom indicator here is the combo. That will not be official. Would not even generate a diamond until it came all the way down and then hit the 50 level. You've got a long way to go. It's one of the ways we've been optimizing things. And I'd say the last time we saw this kind of situation, you go back to 2020, we had a dot, but it took almost 9 months here before we had a pink diamond confirmation, meaning, okay, it's really on in terms of the resistance. As I've said before, that's like the stamp. You get that stamp, you start looking for resistance, downside action. The same way back here, back in 14. Monthly diamond. All right, start looking for the opportunity to get long down in here. But not even close yet. And I think the same could be said about Bitcoin. Let me go to there because I think really spent a lot more time on stocks than I wanted to today. Because the Bitcoin end game here, guys, I want to be clear. What I'm looking for is an extreme expansion. Not looking for just 1618 overspill kind of a move here. Like the last time, what I'm looking for is this. We got above the 1618, 1025 forever. Okay, and maybe I should just step through it. In the same way I showed you a lot of those recovery candidates, Bitcoin was a recovery candidate. We're down here. It was 2023. Oh, did we get to the 382? Yeah, we got to the 382 level. What happened at the 382 level? Acted pretty strong, busted through that. That was like there. There. 34, 35K. And we were looking for then 886, and we got a really nice 886, had the consolidation. And remember last summer, once we broke out, it was above that 63 mark. We were like, okay, 1618. Although 1618 was the minimum assumption the whole time, even way back before. We were thinking 1618 at 35.40. So now we made it. We're beyond it. We've traded past it. And what's the final possibility within the framework is, okay, we'll have some bumps along the way, but still minimum is 2618. That's extreme from just a structural level. If this whole cycle expansion move is even going to be categorized as an extreme creature, then it's a 155, 157 target. If it's going to be top end, maximum extreme, 314. And I really like the 314 as a minimum number. More so than the 2618. But that's like 185, a little bit above. And extreme 3618. And just again, guys, levels. I think the number one value of coming here and listening to me babble, throw out the harmonic levels and be like, yeah, remember Scott was saying this? Yeah, remember Scott was saying, 1025 a year ago. And then he was saying, above 111, breakout, continuation move. Now he's saying this. And that's going to be the end game targets for the move. And I put, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months or less. I think it could be even like 90 days. We get some kind of move and we'll get a signal of overbought extreme and then do the rollover. I was thinking we'd see that by October, by end of November, see most of that materialize and then pop out end of December. Look at the GBTC and some of those other ETFs. They're interesting because they sometimes give you metrics, secondary way to gauge it. GBTC, remember this? Incredible Gartley right at the low. And now we're 1618, 1902 off of that range where you should be. And then what's the top end? And GBTC, 2618 possibilities. Get you to like 140-ish. 2618 is like 138, 150 range. And signal something. So that's the other kind of point here. I've seen people put up these dates. Let me show you guys this. I'm going to put this up here. This is really what I'm talking about. And you guys chat it up in the chat amongst yourselves, but there you go. So I just came across this, and this is, I've seen this happen with crypto where it rhymes and that closely. And so there you go. There's your dates. 1,064 days. Then a correction 364. Another 1,000. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. So that means what? October 6th. That was it. Are we done? I'm keeping my eyes and ears open. Hey, if we were at a 2618 and something like that came across, I'd be like, all right, yeah, maybe. But don't have any you know, major patterns up here, metrics other than like this 1618. Amazing. Look, 2 Gartleys there. That was amazing. Weekly, monthly. And then here's the daily. So, look, the trend still continues. We're just not mooning. That's the Bitcoin story. And I don't think that's going to change. We're going to have fluctuations. We'll have 10% corrections. But the targets are still higher. If we had some clear breakdown stuff, maybe I'd have to change my opinion. But for now, window's still open, guys. And it's even better you see those miners and stuff popping off. Like they wouldn't pop off unless there's a more Bitcoin coming. Couple more. Yeah. Hold it. 1 second. I'll come back with that. Too. Couple more. What does the moon cycle guys say? I don't know. I think I've seen it happen before. Certain people say, okay, it's this number of days, and then it worked out. That was something pretty spectacular on a few markets I saw that were called in 2020. I don't know. Self-fulfilling prophecy. What about Ethereum? Because Ethereum's stuck at the 4,800 level. Is that it? Was that a shake-in trap or what? Because we're breaking under 50 levels on the weekly, which now I'm going to have to see where we are come Sunday. And I'm still looking for this daily. Check out the daily pattern and what we have here. So again, Ethereum, I think people assumed it was just going to monster moon at this moment. The crab pattern, not the best pattern. Okay, I've said that before, but a pause, reason for a pause, sure. And we had that diamond got oversold, little kind of reaction here. And what happened from there straight back to XA. So 4,700, yeah, and we could be in line just to stay in this range, maybe back to 4069, 4100. You're now 43-ish. Best thing would be a target one. I mean, if we get a type 1 and now it's 3489, I would look for a continuation move off of that. For right now, you're in a type 1. Solana and BNB, these are impressive. BNB's the most impressive. Solana right now sitting at not only daily bearish zone of the butterfly, but the weekly, and I would stay on the weekly, and I'll get to why in a second. 227 is the type 2. No diamond, not an ideal confirmation, I'll say that. And I wouldn't even be worried about it. I know you're saying, okay, why Why aren't you bearish if it's a type 2 pattern? Well, we need to get a couple things going under 50. Get that under 50, get amplified this reading, well under 50 first before I'd worry about that type 2. And you're looking for it to do a BNB, which is this. Remarkable. That's 1300. BNB is just phenomenal. There you go. Guys, that chart, this BNB chart goes a lot higher. A lot higher. I would look at it like this. Where are we on the scale? And this is for this cycle. 1618 is here. Sorry, 1618 is there. And you're annihilating it right there. Okay. Through the 1902, that's all you need to give it. That's like 1150, 1160. Maybe you come back and retest it. BNB, great example of something, I think 314 up to 1800 or 3618. That is something I can really get into. Already started the extreme move, and there's a lot of takeaways on this from this chart. Okay, so many things. What? Well, the importance of a trending crypto asset. Is it trending? Great. What's it doing at the 886? Which would be here. Prior all-time 886, which was right back there. Was it able to get through? Yeah. Do we have anything looking left? We sure do. Big shark pattern looking left at the low. And then confirmation and confirmation. This is, again, these are the important signals there and there and there. Overbought at the moment. But I think that continues to go higher. I would say your weekly chart, play it for a 4-hour time frame. Next overbought signal. Maybe back here, like I said, like 1100-ish, because I think this goes 15, 18-ish into the end of the year. BNB is what you want to be. Your crypto, Zcash is, I don't know, the Zcash is blowing my mind. Guys, Zcash. Anybody want to explain this to me? And the other thing about Zcash, which helped to keep the perspective, here. We talked about Zcash when it did all the way there. And then it came back and gave us some dots and some continuation action on a 4-hour chart where 120, 125 was the next buy point, and from 125 to 210 in a few days. That's how we know something larger is happening with Zcash. And the other thing is, look at how relevant the prior range is now. This sucker was dead 6 months ago. This is the wake-up call. That's your wake-up call, guys. Study it, live it, learn it, know it. Okay? I'm amazed. What other Zcash out there? What other ones like Zcash? Because, I think it's definitely time to be searching for those kind of triggers. I'll tell you the other one I want to show you. Look, Zcash is like this with the monthly chart. Okay. We had a diamond here, and that was all the way back. What was that? It was March of 24. We didn't really get going. It was maybe 2 months ago. 3 months ago. It was 52-ish. So what are the triggers? Weekly, I would say you have to go monthly chart. Looking for that larger range, looking for dynamics like Is amplified above the 50 level? Again, I'm looking for a lot of these that are doing this kind of a thing right now. Their price is going sideways like this, but their amplified signals, look, amp is doing this kind of stuff. Everything else is set up, and then amp does stuff like this. Like it comes down, bang here at the 50, and then the breakout like that. Let me show you one or two. What was it? Hold on. It was compound. Here you go. Similar. I'm really looking at this. No. Well, compound, yeah, but that's not above the 50. Maybe it was Monero. Hold on. Bear with me. It's another privacy coin. XMR. Yeah, Monero. So, okay, Monero is a return play, but it's also monthly. Looking at the monthly stuff. Yeah, here you go. Ready to kind of blast through this market cap at all time. And again, looking at the 50 level here and this turn up the 50 level, but that wasn't it either. Hold on. Mm. It escapes me. There was one other one that I had that was it's perfect. Let me take a couple from you guys really quick. XM. Yeah, I do like. Look, listen, before I get out of here with on Monero, I think Monero is ready to pop, and this kind of long-term trend is exactly that's BNB, guys. This is BNB at 200 before the big blast off move. All right, and you're looking for Monero to go price discovery because you're at a consecutive higher low on the monthly chart here. So Monero to do a 1618, two and a half, 14, 15 million. That's not a crazy idea at all. Dash, thank you. I knew it had a D. Thank you. Tim Tom, what's up, man? It was Dash. As soon as you said that. Dash, thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Dash is the other one. I'm looking at it seriously. What? Can you get 100 of these? Anybody? Get 100, get 50, get 100 because if I'm right about this stuff, okay, here's the Dash. Thank you so much, Tim Tom. There's so many of these crypto. Dash is 31. All right, what's down here? Oh, pattern. What's that diamond? Uh-oh, it's a crab pattern, but what's it doing? It's a reaction first. That's actually type 2 already, so going through the 1, 2. Patterns looking left, yes, but what we're looking for is the end of this reaction and then the return move because, yeah, the monthly chart is like this. Remember what I was saying about looking for amplified to be above the 50? Right there. Keep an eye on this. And Dash could be something pretty much here between 25, 30 bucks. You maybe start a little at 30 right now and buy a little chunk every time now because we're looking for this to bust out. That's going to take a strong monthly close and then you get that continuation, monthly continuation. It is Dash. Thank you. So keep an eye on that. You've got patterns down there. And again, I don't think this stuff's going to spend much time after we do this retracement. And even the daily, if we could get a daily oversold, That would be it. That would definitely be it. CRV, that was another one we talked about last time because that was setting up. What was the? I think it's on a weekly. Hold on. It's the return play on the weekly here. Shark to 5-0. Yeah, yeah. I think we were looking at 75 cents. Just looking right there for next jump on point. Daily doesn't really help it at the moment. You're overbought. HSI is pointing lower at the moment. I don't think you'd get back to 48, but boy, if you could, that would be great. That would be great. I'll tell you what, 72 right now. Alternate bat. What does crypto love to do? Type 1 to target 2s. So look at 62.8. 62.8. That's okay though. I like that one a lot. This has got trending written all over it, guys. It's like that. This is what you want. Over a year of steady uptrend, you break out, you're going to turn this around. You break back up around 85. Guys, I said this last time. This is more like a 115, 125 creature. Couple more. Abby, what's up? He wants to look at Vet. I mean, I wish Vet would do something. 2 cents forever. Massive patterns. Massive patterns. Is this a Zcash? No, because Zcash had more progress. I mean, look at that. Not bad. There's lots of things. I know there's lots of patterns down here. I hate to be dismissive about it, especially when you look at Zcash, what it did. But Vet's got the massive bat. It's a type 2. We have HSI right here. All of it's like 2 cents. No dot, no diamond, nothing yet. I mean, again, trending. We want trending. Really want trending because you're not going to want to have to be in a development phase when everything's popping off. Zen, Horizon. All right, not bad. I mean, it's 11, 12 bucks. It was 6. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I would rather have that pop off or retrace after this initial pop. Yes, some patterns down there. Uh, Meh. I can't really do anything at the moment. Not yet. I would say. Well, I'll tell you a couple that are looking interesting. That maybe I wasn't as enthused about until now. Avalanche, I've got to give a hard look to. Avalanche is one of these that has done nothing. And I played that hard a year ago and caught part of the move, and it went up and it came all the way back down. There's big patterns here. What was it? The weekly. I'm interested in Avalanche a lot because of the diamond indicator, frankly, where we have successive 1 diamond, 2 diamonds here. Sorry. So all the way down there at 8, and now another at 18. Tells me something longer term is developing on Avalanche. So can I position somewhere under 30? It does remind me a bit of Zcash. It's a deep crab down at the low, but I'm looking at this at Avalanche kind of like this. Maybe 23, and then we return it up. But there's progress there. It's not great, but the weekly is the longer it kind of holds up here and can make progress, then this whole range is possible. The other real simple thing I've mentioned all along with a lot of these downtrends, if we can break that, you can crack that all-time downtrend, and most of these recovery plays have that situation. It's to the right of that downtrend that things can happen. So just be aware of it. The other one is Chronos Crypto.com. I'm waiting, looking. Are we going to get a signal? It's back at 19. The daily charts like this. Retest. I think it's somewhere 18, 19. I don't have anything on it other than I say this. If CRO is going to be a play, then this succession of diamond, diamond, diamond continuation doesn't stop. That means 18, 19 cents should be about it. I don't have a pattern here. I wish I had a pattern. 4 hour, nothing really. Hourly, nothing really. But there's the hourly. But it's like 18 or 19 cents. And you're playing that at this point with a major continuation idea behind it. Couple more. Yeah. Caspa, has that broken the downtrend? Hold on. No, it hasn't. 7 cents. There's a bat on the hourly. No, let's talk weekly, monthly, even because we need to. Weekly. Hold on. Yeah, this is kind of deceiving because it doesn't seem like it's done much. That's a good all-time chart. You're here where at 6 cents is that's a critical oversold area, and then daily that's a little better. I think you're going to be. I would wait for that 6. Give us a type 2 crab. You're almost there as it is. Hold on. See, this is kind of interesting because, if you were looking at this on a different exchange, you wouldn't see all the history and say, well, that's still up there or only retrace like 50% of the move. No matter what, this gets back to the simple fact that most of the crypto that haven't moved or aren't ready to move is we're just still underneath the downtrend. So any of them, I'd have to say you got to get to the right of the downtrend. Couple more. Litecoin, like this. That's another one. Sleeper, boomer crypto. That will it have its day? And then will it be too late? Like there's the monthly chart. It's a pretty nice basing formation. Has to get above these levels like 150. And then there's the weekly. A little better. I mean, look, you went back to back. Gartley to bat. Okay, there's the type 1 reaction. You're done. Like 106, 107. And you should do the return move. I mean, why not? Maybe that's the start of the return move, 132. As high as maybe 152. Yeah. Randy Hipper is big on this. She's a big Litecoin proponent. I think last time she and I talked 6 months ago, she was thinking this will go. I don't, I'm just looking at the chart. I do like what's happening, the successive higher lows, and some breakout range here. But look, downtrend of Litecoin like that is something different than most of your other crypto. That's why I would say that's got a chance. And not just some kind of pop, but again, you're looking for these basing ones that have been doing this for a couple years. You're looking for, I would say 618 is a minimum leg, 280 or 886 full recovery. That's it. That's the only reason why you get down here in here around 100 is to play that move. I don't think you're going to get anything else. Few more. SEI. Yeah, a couple more. That's a Coinbase. It's probably not the best Let me get a better feed, like a Binance feed. SCI. Yeah, I mean, not really much. I don't really have much there. You're back at the 886. The daily, well, you should have told me about the daily. The daily, okay, better. But are we really in a launch point? I think that's the other consideration. You're looking for stuff that's setting up, launching. I think that's lower. That's 20, more like 25 maybe. That's one of the things with bulk of the crypto environment. Most of them are not doing anything. Here's SUI, and it's still a shark to 5.0, and it's still going sideways. And I still like it. I still think that this will resolve the uptrend and break out of this wedge and go higher. Maybe we need to come back to 308 one more time and then put in a dot or something. Maybe it's like 310. But that's a good one because, look, we've made a lot of progress since the lows. We're holding up there. I don't know. I don't know. One or two more, guys. I think I'm uh, kind of repeating myself with a lot of these. Here's Cake. Haven't looked at that in a long time. Okay. Cake is another one. It's a recovery play. Okay, good. Making progress. But how far? I think that's something that, could base for a while off of the pattern down there. Jeez. Top end is look, you have a definite pattern looking left. But we're contained between target 2 and XA 167 395. So right now, that's it. You're done. You're done with it. You can't really expect much beyond that. And look at the way it's already reacting. 4 on the top side, 170, $2. Uh, yeah, it's. Oh, hold on. Yeah, there's the daily. With these kind of things that they pop off, and then we look at them on days like this, you have to at least, I don't know, give it 30 bars on a 4 hour chart. And I wouldn't even think about it till it retraced like half of the move. We're stair stepping. We're not accelerating. We're still trying to bust out on things like that. That's pancake swap. What was the other swap? Was it swap itself? Trust swap. I think we looked at that. Trust swap. No, I think the other one was synthetics we looked at. Yeah, and that's actually not bad. Synthetics is not bad because look, the hop level right there is 89 cents, and then confirmation 60 cents. Nice little pop for now, but we're looking for, or we're really trying to position for these bigger moves to come. That's not trending. Maybe recovery there. Man, I hear you guys. Okay, I hear you guys. Don't have to be so repetitive. Pound the table. Is coin dead? What do you mean is coin dead? Coinbase dead? Let me wrap up a couple more of these crypto. Oh, you guys are demanding today. Man, I'll get you. Giga Chad right here at 1 cent. Anything. It never did anything off of all those patterns. Sitting in that zone. I don't. Really, without a dot, I would say come back and give us a dot down here. But did any of those meme coins that guy was promoting work out? I mean, that was a little pop dot to dot, but that was it. What about that SPX 600, 6900? Because that was the main one, right? This is going to be the one that's going to be one of the best assets of all time. Uh, Bat pattern. All right. At least that hasn't crashed. 140. If that's the best of the best. But I would still wait for a Type 2 on something like that. That's that SPX. All those other ones that that guy was recommending, Murad or whatever, Morad, which one worked out? Any of them? Again, which ones are trending too? What was the other one? I hear you, man. Okay, man. XRP, did we look at that? No. For today, no. 280. 280, guys, on a retest. Stuck at 280. Again, I said this before. It's a lot like earlier this year. It's probably going to be stuck in this zone between, oh, I don't know, 275 and 350 for a while. It's not rocking yet. It's holding up. It's kind of That's a pretty impressive chart building its way. I got to say that. That's a long term, that's a beautiful chart. Weekly, stretch it out. I probably should get a even longer term chart. Look, you're looking for this deal for XRP. Big first thrust off the low up to the high. Okay, retraces, builds the wedge, and then you break out and do a symmetrical kind of follow through, 685, $7. That's your long term kind of projection prophecy. That's what you're looking for. So all of this in kind of diddle in the middle, as they say, is just that. Is it 270? Is it 250? Is it 290? Somewhere in here, because you're riding XRP for this move. Price discovery, I'd say it's already price discovery. Couple more. Okay, for my man, Ox, IVN. Take a gummy, bro. But I'll look at your RXRX. It's 2 o'clock and I hadn't had lunch. Recursion Pharmaceuticals, what we got is a shark on the weekly. Anything to go off of? Bye. Take care. Love you. Yeah. Type 2 bat pattern. So sure. Sure, as we say in Philadelphia. 471 confirmation. I like that now. I mean, it is a type 2. Can we get a weekly, monthly something trigger? It is a monthly. This is one of these, again, kind of an IPO mania, come back into check, give you the pattern. All right, now let's go sideways for 30 months or 30 weeks. You could be spot on getting long here, but you might not get paid till 2028. That's just how it is, especially with these weeklies. Interesting though. A couple more. Coin. What's the matter with Coin? You guys are crazy. Is Coin dead? Coin ever since the daily HSI trigger, remember? We're still up and we're still looking for the weekly is I'll tell you what it is. Absolutely a type 2 that just had a counter HSI on Coin. Now is Monday the 8th of September, the week of the 8th. Now let's come back. You're 387. Let's retest the yellow dot trigger. Open bar is 394.62. That's where you're going. Is that open? No. 425.55. My apologies. Book it. Play for it next week. And look, this is going to be the last one. Is Coinbase going into discovery? That's all. You just look. Is this it? Coinbase is against the all-time range, or is Coinbase going to do something crazier and then go full 1618? There you go. There. Or really, maybe that's just a butterfly. Either way, is it going price discovery? Because if it's going price discovery, it's not 385. It's like 550. Don't know. Time for Connell again. Connell was, the other one as well. Daily. Now 48, man. That was down there at 26. It had HSI. Hold on. Yeah, the same HSI. 32, 33, now 48. So all good, guys. I really think it's, listen, we miss major moves. It happens all the time. Get used to it. But I don't think of it really as a mistake. I think of it as a learning lesson, no matter what we're looking at, and in applying it to the next situation. Connell, Coinbase, so many of these, they popped off. But they come back and they give us these secondary and tertiary entries. Like Connell, that was great. My point really for today and how we should be looking at this stuff going into the end of the year is if you see something that pops off, get it on the radar. But then look for some kind of pullback consolidation against exactly something like this, big retracement, and then play the continuation. The one that I started with today, which was Oracle, is definitely now. 298. And what I'm looking for is the end of this retracement to go not only back to retest the highs, but go still another 1618 expansion. There's a number of these. I'm going to highlight more of these next week, but that's where we are. Again, wait for it. Wait for the setup. NVIDIA right now making all-time new highs at 195. We'll get another opportunity. But we want to keep playing them like that. And the trending ones, really. Beyond that, when does crypto moon and all of that? Follow Bitcoin. And, Bitcoin should be doing it in terms of time. Bitcoin should be giving us this kind of retracement. Where's the 4-hour chart? The 4-hour chart here. Yeah. There's the 4-hour chart. I didn't even get into this 4-hour chart on Bitcoin, but I wanted to leave this. I'm just kind of lining up the next HSI, oversold HSI. We are still dealing with this Gartley, surprisingly enough. We didn't fail it yet, but we are 2 green bars away from a dot. So maybe we get a high-level dot over the weekend. Either way, guys, I just think it's more of where's the next oversold trigger and just keep jumping on at those points. Bitcoin's given us a few. Back here, remember, we were 109, and I was saying 111. Everyone was freaking out. Same beginning of September. So we've had 3 just in the last 6 weeks. We'll get more. Let's be patient on that. The rest of it, yeah. Rest of it, I think let's grab it on Tuesday. Listen, before we get out of here, let's give away HPC 30 for a 30-day trial user to get with the software. Everyone else to get the new indicator and get access to the program. Where'd it go? Hold on. Here we go. Send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. everybody in here, if you're going to spend your time to learn about harmonic pattern framework, uh, learn it with the software and take the 2 weeks free trial, because then once you learn the framework, then you're dealing in an really in an environment where you understand, okay, how far can a price move? What should I be thinking next? Like, I'm one of the most bullish people still on Bitcoin, but I'll tell you right now, over the weekend, let's deal with the 4 hour Gartley, let it retrace, and then get ready for some kind of oversold trigger to launch us into next week. I mean, it's October 9th, guys. Okay? Clock is ticking, really. 30 days from now, we will be at that point where we were a year ago, where it should be a full on. But I expect things to continue to pop off. I mean, just watch Zcash. Zcash keeps going. You know, things are, I mean, Zcash 210. Let's find some others. All right. Uh, oh, by the way, who got that? Hold on. You got it. All right, great. Raphael, you win HPC 30. Can you just send me a note on the Discord? The link is in the description. And everybody else, yeah, hit me up. Hit me up over there on Discord as well. Come on back on Tuesday, guys. All right, that's that for today. Exciting times. Prepare, get ready. Let's rock and roll. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you on Tuesday. Go get 'em.